Hey guys, let us get more news about Miami Heat, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Miami Heat have gone from Jimmy Butler's "it's time" post to fighting for playoff lives. It was only a few weeks ago the Miami Heat appeared to show they were ready for the stretch run to the playoffs. Now, they have positioned themselves for another possible fight just to avoid the play-in tournament. On February 23, forward Jimmy Butler penned an Instagram post that read, "It's time." It came after he was ejected in the fourth quarter of a victory against the New Orleans Pelicans. Many thought it was a sign of getting ready for the postseason, but the Heat have gone just 4-5 since. "I wouldn't say frustrating," Adebayo said. "We just have to look at film how to figure it out." The Heat were in position to make a run at the number 4 seed, but 4 straight losses have them clinging to the number 8 spot. Included in the losing skid was a bad defeat to the Washington Wizards. "I think a lot of it boils down to 50-50 plays, just execution and just getting stops down the stretch," forward Caleb Martin said. "Things that we are more than capable of getting done." The Heat have 17 games to figure it out, or else they will have to once again deal with the play-in tournament like last year. The Miami Heat always find a way to ride out the slow starts of regular seasons, and they're doing so again during the 2023-24 NBA season. After another sluggish showing out of the gate, the Heat have turned things up the past few weeks. Miami is 8-2 in their last 10 games and is now up to 6th in the Eastern Conference. With how they're playing, it's a fair bet that the Heat will climb all the way up to the number 4 seed because they're only one game behind the New York Knicks in the loss column. The largest reason for Miami's turnaround is Jimmy Butler, who is playing his best basketball of the season so far. Butler isn't one to shoot many three-pointers, but he explained the recent uptick in frequency and what he could accomplish if he shot even more of them, via Zachary Weinberger of Clutch Points. "If I wanted to shoot all threes, I actually could, and I think I would shoot a really good percentage," Butler said. Butler's built his game on mid-range game, and rarely ventures out past the three-point line. However, it looks like the Heat star is finally embracing needing to shoot more from distance as it puts even more pressure on defenses. Butler in the postseason is almost an entirely different player, and he's starting to round into that form again as the regular season begins to wind down. A fully healthy and engaged Butler is a nightmare for any team in the playoffs, and him adding a more consistent three-ball would make him even scarier. Last year, the Miami Heat barely made it into the NBA playoffs, with the team having to go through the play-in tournament in order to clinch the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference. Even though it appeared the Heat were headed for a first-round loss to the top-seeded Milwaukee Bucks, Jimmy Butler and company quickly flipped the switch and shocked Giannis Antetokounmpo and his squad by pulling off the upset in 5 games. The Heat put the East on notice as a result of that first-round upset, which carried over the next round all the way to the NBA Finals, with Miami making easy work of their opponents until the Boston Celtics took them to 7 games in the Eastern Conference Finals. Unfortunately, the Magic started to wear off in the finals against the eventual NBA champion Denver Nuggets, with Miami only able to win 1 game against Nikola Jokic and company. With the NBA season heading into its final stretch, Butler is starting to warn the doubters that the Heat are about to turn it on via NBA Central. Erik Spoelstra lauds Heat veteran for defense against Nikola Jokic. The Denver Nuggets scored another big win on Wednesday night, beating the Miami Heat 100-88 and reclaiming the top seed in the Western Conference. However, even though the Heat didn't win, one of their biggest stars did a great job at minimizing Nikola Jokic. After the game, Miami head coach Erik Spoelstra spoke about Bam Adebayo's determination to defend Jokic. "Nobody will go toe-to-toe, minute for minute against Jokic other than Bam. Bam signs up for that and he'll put himself out there and be vulnerable, to the competition. That's the competitor of all competitors," Spoelstra said, according to Clutch Points. Jokic was held to just 12 points during the game, although he still scored a double-double because he also had 14 rebounds, along with 6 assists. Getting a handle on Jokic is a huge key to stopping the Nuggets, and that's why Adebayo's defense was so important. However, there were multiple threats from Denver on Wednesday night. Aaron Gordon scored 16 points and Jamal Murray posted 14. But it was Michael Porter Jr. who did the most work, lighting up for 25 points and 7 rebounds, shooting 9 of 16 from the field and 5 of 9 from the three-point line. As for Adebayo, he scored a double-double of his own with 17 points and 13 rebounds. It was a tough fight all night long between both teams, but in the end, the Nuggets were able to pull out the victory. Defending Jokic might be the most difficult job in the NBA, and it usually feels like no one can successfully do it. The fact that Adebayo willingly stepped up and tried to stop Jokic shows just how competitive he is and how much he wants to win, no matter the challenge. All-Star guard available again, will the Miami Heat pursue him this summer? While the focus for the Warriors is to finish as high as possible and make another deep playoff run, this offseason will be monumental for the team. The Miami Heat brass will have a lot on their plate, and once again, this team may look a little different when the 2024-2025 season rolls around. How different would it be? Well, Chicago Bulls All-Star guard Zach Lavine will be available for trade this offseason. Casey Johnson of NBC Sports Chicago reported that the Bulls will try to trade Lavine again this offseason. Miami Heat has been linked to him for a few years. Will the Miami Heat move toward him this offseason to add their potential third star? There is a chance. The Bulls have been trying to find suitors for the two-time All-Star. Lavine has been with the Bulls for 7 seasons, and his time in Chicago is coming to an end. Chicago was unable to find a suitable trade last offseason and at this year's trade deadline. They hope the third time is the charm. The Miami Heat will have a lot to offer this offseason. They will have 3 draft picks they can trade, along with some good players on reasonable contracts. The bad news is that Lavine underwent surgery on his right foot in early February. The good news is that, according to Johnson, he is expected to be ready for training camp as he is advanced in his recovery. The All-Star guard has a career-high 20.5 points per game scorer, 3.9 assists and 4.1 rebounds on 46.4% shooting from the field and 38.3% from behind the arc. He is under contract through the 2025-2026 season, with a player option for the 2026-2027 season worth $49 million. The Bulls are a mid-major team that couldn't get over the hump with Lavine as one of their best players. Interest exists between the two, however, once the offseason arrives, there could be a lot of players on the trade market. All eyes will be on Miami Heat and their search for a third star. And you, fan, what do you think about the situation of Zach Lavine? Leave your opinion in the comments.